What are we doing?
We're doing an intro, bruh.
Oh, God.
Come on, man.
All right, I'm anxious.
You're like, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous.
Is there a camera?
Oh,
Do
God.
all right.
All right, so today's the day where we... I don't know what to do with my hands. All right. We're having some shenanigans, but today's the day that we're gonna pull the GE 2JZ out, non-turbo, and hopefully maybe put the other one in. But anyway, at least we'll get on this. This motor is actually going into his new drift build, BMW D92, which is gonna be sick. But yeah, it's time to get this thing going and get it done and make her all slidey. But we're out here at the ranch. He got to pet some grass puppies, so he's happy now.
Yep.
And
that's literally all I came here for.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we're gonna get on it. So as for most things with cars, not everything goes smoothly, especially when you're doing engine swaps. So yesterday I was, started filming. I was doing some time lapse. But of course, when you start getting into the groove and you're trying to get things done, you worry less about the camera. So got the old motor out, no big deal. Getting the new motor in with a CD009 that's never been meant for the car really. And then the stock twins. I decided to keep the stock twins for now, just for trying to get this project going, trying to keep things simple, trying to keep things budget friendly, blah blah blah. But I will say they make putting the motor in the car a huge pain in the butt, because the back turbo, when you're trying to angle the trans down into the car and everything, the back turbo hits the firewall a lot. It becomes like it's in the way, and it's close to the firewall once it's in its position. But buddy Marco, or mag.jz, as you would see him on Instagram, was killer. Helped me out. Like, we got this thing in, we kicked butt. Abe kicked our butts, but as you can see, 2JZGTE VVTi Aristo swap is in the car. As far as wiring, all that, just gonna go through, make sure everything's done with that. Got to get the trans mount up and on from CD009. Otherwise, it's just little things. Getting the fuel situation, put the new Aristo fuel pump in the back, run the return line, intercooler piping, which Marco is gonna help out with, exhaust Marco's also going to help out with, but yeah, it's in, and that much closer to this car being done for now, at least. But really stoked and excited here for that. But man, holy crap, in a day, got the motor out and the new motor in. So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy this as I keep going with it, and hopefully I can get more content, and hopefully have a lot of fun with this thing. I'm pretty excited, so hopefully you guys are too. And as you can tell, I'm really tired right now because it's the next morning. I think we took the motor back to Titan Motorsports and everything, but by the time I got home last night, or got finished in bed, it was after 2, and pretty much all day yesterday, and then I got up this morning and I'm tinkering already. So yeah, cars beat the crap out of you, but you gotta love them. So coming into the engine bay, you will see the, I believe it's a Tercel. I don't remember what year. It's an older Tercel Clutch Master, but that is where it fits. So he made it so, actually he was saying that I had to remove this or cut the bracket, but I just actually tilted it down. As you can tell, I have one bolt there in, and then the whole ABS assembly clears where their kit goes. I'm not gonna lie, getting down in there, especially with the fuse box, even trying to pull the fuse box out of the way, it is nearly impossible to get the holes drilled. What I ended up doing, I used their template, but their template was actually a little off. I recommend making sure, they even say it, but pull measurements, check twice for the actual pattern of the holes for the Master, because their template, paper template, was off by like I want to say 16th to an 8th on one of the holes. So anyway, so what I did is I made sure that I pre-punched where the holes need to go, but I was able to drill the first and second hole, the second hole being where the actual shaft goes through for the Clutch Master. And then what I did is I got one bolt from the inside after so I did a pilot hole, then I went from the other side, drilled it bigger to what it needed to be on both of them, did the hole saw from the inside out also, because I could not get a drill in here, especially like a hole saw bit. There's no way possible. So I got those first two done, then I bolted it all up, used which I'll show you, the upper bracket they have and everything, got it on with the one top screw in and tight and position where I thought it needed to be. Then from the inside I actually drilled through for the bottom hole, which actually worked out. I made the holes a little bit bigger for the two screws or two bolts that go through, which I'm really glad it gave it that little bit of extra play that it needed, which is fine. You're not going to get anything going into the engine bay. It's not that big. Just a little bit bigger than it needed to be though, to make that happen. So going inside though, don't mind the mess of tools because I've been working crazy hard. So you will see the third pedal right here. I'm going to try and get things where you can see. So the third pedal, the placement is where it goes, which I'll kind of go over with you. Usually this little hump right, let me go down. Right here is it comes up higher usually. I took the plastic thing out from the back, that's your footrest. When the clutch depresses, your foot hits that rest. So I pulled the carpet back and took that out. They didn't say anything about it. I would definitely recommend that, so you don't have any issues with your foot like contacting that if you're not getting full clutch. I probably still have to play a little bit with the adjustment. We'll see. Waiting to get everything done, and then I'll play with that. But the placement is a little close to the brake. But I think that being said is because it needed to clear this hump, which is I wish kind of didn't. Honestly, it could have probably came over another inch if you got rid of that hump, which is fine. But let me try and get this up. So like I said, this is where that hump was. I think this could come over a little bit more and been fine with clearance wise. So if anything, I might clearance the pedal back off a little bit right here to give that extra little space. But playing with it with my feet, like, it's really not that bad. So let me see if I can get in here and show you what we have. Sorry, it's really not easy. So right there is where it's coming through the firewall right there. So there's your bottom, and then the top one's up there, and then the shaft comes through. Let's see. There is a bracket. I'm trying to find it with the video. There's a upper bracket that ties here to this bolt, which is the parking brake main rotation bolt. And it goes up to above the other. So it's actually really stout set up. It's really nice. The other thing is he made it, as you can tell, where it bends and everything, it clears. This is your ABS. I believe this is ABS computer and everything. If you're wanting to keep all that, I might delete it later. I just, for now, for sake of getting the car running and not having too many things going on,
maybe down the line I'll do that. But it clears this so you can keep the ABS and you don't have to worry. The same within the engine bay. And all the other things clear inside, which is pretty impressive for that part of things. But overall, I will say this took me way too long to do, but you know, that's cars. All right, so give you a little bit better look of the placement. It's actually pretty, like I said, pretty good in my opinion for the most part. As far as that goes, I don't have all the lower part of the dash back in. Obviously, I think it might have been able to go over to the left an inch more because I did away with that plastic footrest, which does interfere if you don't take it away, if it was an inch over. But otherwise, it's really good. Everything fit pretty nicely. But I will say this was a major pain. I'm not sure any other pedal assembly would be any easier, to be honest. Just for the sheer fact, especially with the ABS stuff in the car still on the firewall side in the engine bay. Obviously, if you get rid of all that, you'd have a lot more space to mess with, and a lot more. It'd be a lot easier. But that being said, this fits with all the factory stuff. For the guys that want to keep the ABS, want to keep all that, this does work. It's just going to be a huge pain in the butt. It's going to take you hours. I have lost lots of skin on my knuckles. I've been contorted under this dash for way too long. Getting all the bolts in is really not easy. I ended up having to take the actual pedal arm and everything off of the bracket in order to get the top bolt on, and then trying to get those tightened and then get the arm back on. It's just so tight that it's really hard to do. But so difficulty level, it's up there. Frustration level, definitely up there. But in the end, I'm pretty happy. You know, for what I wanted. We'll see. Hopefully it works and I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, that's it. It's in. I have a third pedal. That's one step closer to this car getting done.
Pulled the tranny out now for the second time. Talked to Gerard from CD009 about the clearance for the GS chassis slash Aristo chassis and the CD Pro and fish racing adapter bell housing kit stuff. Anyway, for the CD to fit in this chassis, you have to clearance this area. I didn't do enough. There was actually, like, if you can kind of tell, there's like this step down right here that goes all the way down. And if you look, there's a hole there and a hole there. There used to be two nuts that the dash support bars, the bolt goes through. So you have to cut those off, and then you have to clearance this area because this is the fat part of the gearbox. This is why, you know, this gearbox is as stout as it is, because it has huge gears and everything. The gearbox is thick, but you need 8 inches in between here, and it has to go up pretty high. So I had to really clearance out this area. I'm going to repaint it and do it all nice. I'm going to do a little clearancing over by the bell housing, makes it easier to get in and out. And then Gerard said to go ahead and cut out to about the width of the shifter assembly, because it actually wants to go up in, which I was unaware of. So it's about 3.5 inches. I just gave it a little bit more. I wish I could have done that cleaner. It's kind of hard with all the different, you know, angles, and I didn't have a small. I just had a 4-inch angle grinder, so that's the only way I could do it. But I'm gonna get like a universal rubber shifter boot to put in here. You can usually just self-tap them in from the top side, so it'll clear that, or that way there's not open to the bottom of the car. But otherwise, yeah, kind of a lot of work, but obviously worth it in the end. You have a really strong trans, 6-speed, good gearing, but that's kind of what you have to do. You can kind of see, I mean, I did a lot of clearancing to get that in there. I just used actually this guy right here. That ball peen actually kind of helps stretch the metal as you go, and you just do little by little, pass by pass, and work the area and keep working it until you get going a little bit more and more. Because if you really try and hit one spot and go deeper, you'll end up tearing the sheet metal. And the rounded tip actually helps. I did use this here and there, but the rounded tip helps stretch the metal and keep it from tearing, so you're not getting a sharp edge. And just take your time and work it. So yeah, there's that. getting closer, trying to get this car done. Let's keep our fingers crossed, no more issues. Trans is all in the car, and as you can tell, I test fit the center console and everything last night. Got the shifter where I think it needs to be as far as that goes, but you got first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, down reverse. So as far as where it lands, it comes through the center of the trans tunnel, but the 609 CD009 technical shifter has this offset piece here that puts the shifter, and you can basically you can put it back if you need it further back or forward in whatever car, which makes things like really nice as far as that goes. But as you can tell, really nice throw, short, clean. I've already adjusted the 609 shifter so I can do the reverse lockout. So that's reverse there, it's down and over, but it clears the hole here with plenty of space. I can maybe fiddle with it a little bit more, maybe get it up, but actually where I have them sitting right now, it actually seems to be working quite well. So, but yeah, this is in after clearancing all the transmission tunnel and everything. Everything's right where it needs to be, and of course now that I have that done, I have the third pedal. So there you go. So like I said, I might clearance that little bit of the brake pedal off just so I don't ever catch my foot or something, which I don't think is going to happen. Seems to be alright. So as far as that goes, I got to put the interior back together, but I'm waiting. I'm going to try and get like a universal rubber boot to go in here to cover that the hole that I had to clearance a little bit. I clearanced a little too much in the back, but I wasn't sure how far back the trans was going to go and when it's coming up in it, if it needed to be in the way. And then I might actually take a Dremel and clearance that little bit around the edges a little bit more, but otherwise pretty good. Really happy with it. So it's a little hard to tell under here, but the way the 609 kit and their trans mount and everything for the GS300 sets the transmission, the bottom here is actually dead flush with the frame rails and everything else underneath the car. So there is the lowest point is still the subframe up there. It's hard to tell but from this angle, but yeah, that's a super nice bit. Energy suspension bushing and all, but as you can tell, that's again where I clearanced the shifter tunnel a little bit to get it where it needs to go up in, and then I'll clean all that up a little bit more. As you can tell, later, Fish Racing CD bell housing / 609 CD Pro one. Man, these things are nice, super nice. Again, just look at this. It's a billet piece for the trans mount from 609, and then of course their technical shifter. Everything's just so nice. It's crazy how good their stuff is, but it's just fit and finish. It's one of those things makes you happy when it's all said and done. Actually, what I'm about to do before I drop the diff to get it welded up with my buddy Marco, this is just the back part of the two-piece tail shaft, the original one. So this is the Guibo, is what they call them. It's a rubber isolator. It helps with vibration, blah blah blah, NVH noise, so you won't get the gear whine in the cab. I don't care about that. No one does. But anyway, it's a weak point, obviously. So I'm going to take this off, the drive shaft stub, and then take the Guibo off. With the CD009, you run obviously the Nissan slip yoke in the front, but this is a Guibo Delete from 609. Again, billet piece, super nice as always, fit and finish. So you put this in its place, it goes there, and then you can use a 1350 U-joint. So I'm going to put the adapter on, and then I got to pull a measurement from the adapter to the transmission main shaft, so I can get the distance, get the custom one-piece drive shaft made, and get things rolling, but then I'm gonna drop this out, drop the diff and get it welded up. But yeah, gonna do that real quick, getting closer and closer every day. So it's time to try and crank over the motor. Couple things went through the wiring. Actually, I think during the swap we swapped the gray and orange. If you know anything about the swap, caps over by the ECU. We weren't supposed to do that, so I actually went to the junkyard this morning and grabbed the ones out of another GS300. It was also a 2002. I don't know if they're different or not, but then I realized I needed to find the neutral switch or park switch to make sure that it'll crank over. So I did that, looped it with the connector. For now, I'll repin it now later. Sorry if it's really windy and if you're catching all this wind noise. It is been windy. It was cold as crap yesterday. I'm going to try and prime it to get some oil through the motor and everything, because it hasn't had it in who knows how long. But what I did is I unplugged the relay and fuse for the EFI, so I won't get any spark or fuel. Crank it over a few times, get some oil pressure, and then I'll plug those back in and hopefully get a crank. No intercooler piping, no exhaust on it, just want to get it running just to make sure. Then drive shaft, a couple other things, intake, intercooler and exhaust, and we're getting close. I picked up a I believe it's a 1995 throttle cable from a Corolla. Supposedly that works. I'm gonna try that out, and then yeah, little things to button up. I'm getting really close, but this is going to be the official first start of this motor, so here we go. So, hopefully oil is primed. Did a couple crank overs. We'll see. I don't think there's anything else other than plugging the fuses, and let's give this a go. Also, just for safety reasons, it's always smart to do this, especially if you've messed with fuel, did a swap. You never know. It could save you a big headache and a lot of money. So get you a fire extinguisher.